So back there, behind my channel, behind me, you see that poster there, the Star Trek 25th anniversary poster that I got from the first Star Trek convention I ever went to. My friend Peter, his parents got tickets to the convention for him and me, and we all went together and got that posted there. I got this cool little CD pack with a couple of audiobooks. Books, they weren't really called books on tape back then. And I got a little plate, the Star Trek 25th anniversary. Now I gotta look it up. I didn't think to. Star Trek 25th anniversary plate. Here it is. Hey, look at this. Right here on eBay. Now, mine isn't signed. Right? This guy's asking for 15 grand because it's signed. Mine is not signed. But I've got this plate. It's up that I bought in Star Trek Sacramento. What are you talking about? I bought this plate in 91. Anyway, so I've got that same plate. I bought that at that convention. And yeah, because I've always loved Star Trek. Star Trek and Star Wars I grew up with. I remember going to see Star Wars in the theater when I was 2 years old. I only remember a couple things from it. I remember the Sandman beating Luke up, and I remember running away down the aisle of the theater from it. I have a few other memories of way back then. I remember when my sister was born, and I remember like a year later when we were in a motel on the way to drive to my grandparents' place for Easter, and her eating the Easter egg coloring pills as a toddler, and my parents freaking out. Those are my earliest memories. Star Wars and my sister. And Easter egg coloring pills. But Star Trek was also very much in me. I was watching it on the Channel 20 DC area. I forget the word for it. You know, watching reruns and it's like, man, this is great. And when the Next Generation started, I was like, holy cow, there's new Star Trek. Because I remember it being I had, watching it in syndication stuff, but also I'd seen the movies. I don't think I saw Wrath. I know I didn't see the motion picture in the theater. I remember seeing the poster for Wrath of Khan in the movie theaters, but I think that was when we went and saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. Was it? Maybe. I gotta look back on the dates of that. I remember seeing that in the theater. I was like, Wrath of Khan, who's Khan? I don't know. And I didn't see it. But we saw Search for Spock. We saw, I know from 3 onward, I saw all those in the theaters. I remember it being in, what was that electronic store called? That was like the cutting edge electronic store back in the day. I remember seeing a Laserdisc version of Laserdisc of the motion picture and the Klingon scene. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I remember seeing the motion picture on videotape and seeing Khan on videotape and on TV when they broadcasted on TV. But anyway, when Next Generation came out, I was one of those guys who was like, yay, I'm glad there's more Star Trek, but man, Picard sucks. Kirk is so much cooler. Picard only wants to talk, whereas Kirk was getting in fistfights and getting the girls. Picard sucks. And of course, I grew up a bit and came to love Picard like everybody has. Kirk's still, the man. Sisko's pretty awesome too. But I watched all of Next Generation through elementary and junior high and high school, but the final seasons I was off to college for season 7, so I didn't see all of it until later. Saw the beginning of DS9, the first few episodes, but then again I went off to do other things. Just like I saw the beginning of Babylon, saw the pilot of Babylon 5 and really liked it, but then went off to college. Didn't even realize it got picked up until junior year, or actually junior year, when my friend was like, ever heard of Babylon 5? I was like, yeah, man, I really wanted to see that. And it's like, oh, it's on, it's great. And so we watched it together. We called it our soap opera for the next year and a half until we both graduated. And then I saw season 5 after the year after graduation. And then Voyager started, and I saw the first few episodes of that. And then Enterprise started when I was on shore duty, and I saw the first few episodes of that, but I was doing other things. And but I've always called myself a Star Trek fan. But yet, when you look at it, until very recently, I had seen like 2/3 of the original series, pretty much all of Next Generation, all of the movies, and very little of Voyager, very little of Enterprise. I haven't even bothered to even look at Discovery or the other stuff since then. And it's funniest thing, reason why. I actually enjoyed the Abrams 2009 movie. Thought it was like, the follow-up was horrific. Star Trek Beyond I actually liked and thought it felt the most Star Trek-y to me of those three, if that makes any sense. But just as happy they didn't make any more of them. But then the Axanar thing came along, which that's where I first learned of Robert Meyer Burnett, and I really liked that show, and I backed their Kickstarter, their Indiegogo for the full Axanar movie, and of course, all the chicanery happened with that. But I got really pissed off by Paramount and CBS, yeah, for suing them, and I was like, dude, I get it. I'm a writer. I understand copyright. I understand, you got to defend your stuff, and that makes sense. But I was like, if you were smart, you would have worked with these guys and made this awesome thing. So they sued the Axanar thing. Axanar got shut down. It was all chicanery, and then Discovery get announced that it happens. It is basically the same time period covering the Klingon War. It's like, you sons of bitches. You shut those. Instead of working with these guys with this awesome idea, you shut them down. You're doing something else. Doing the same thing. Just screw you. I'm not watching it. And then it turned out that it sucked. I have seen enough of it through unintentionally to realize I'm just as glad I didn't watch it. And when they announced Star Trek Picard, I was like, oh man, they can only screw it up. They can only screw it up. So I didn't watch it. And apparently season 3 is pretty good, but it's like, I don't care. And Strange New Worlds, I'm like, it's hard to care. But yet, I still have always considered myself a Star Trek fan, despite that missing a bunch of stuff and not having, and I think not having watched any of the more recent Star Trek stuff maybe makes you more of a fan. I don't know. But I'm coming up with a little bit of a problem, though, because, a couple of years ago, I finally watched all the rest of DS9 a few years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, while it was still on Netflix, and I was like, oh man, I liked it. I liked the part that I saw when it was first airing, but then you got distracted with submarines and just life, and never saw the rest of it. And man, that was awesome. But now I'm coming up on a quandary where this is gonna sound weird, but yeah, it is what it is. I enjoy some of the YouTube reaction channels, and there's just a couple channels that I've been following who've been going through all of Star Trek, and one of them is in Next Gen now, and the other one is in DS9 now, and they're going through all of it. I'm like, I really love their takes. I'm like, holy cow, they're going to get to Voyager soon. And I haven't seen all of Voyager. I don't think I've seen past the first half of season 1. But yet somehow but I know about 7 and 9, and I know about a bunch of the stuff that happened, but I haven't seen it all. I was like, oh gosh, how am I going to enjoy what they're doing if I haven't seen it? It's like, oh no, what am I going to do? This is tragic. How can I do this? It's like, so I went and bought the Voyager DVDs, and I'm gonna have them. They'll be over here at my place here in a few days, and I'm gonna go watch Star Trek Voyager. And you know what I'm gonna do after that? You know what I'm gonna do? There's a guy on YouTube who you may or may not have heard of. It's my man over here, Lore Runner. He makes his living on YouTube with going through pop culture stuff and just chit chatting about things and giving his impressions on what is going on. And what he does, a lot of other people don't do, is he doesn't do the reaction thing where you show the scenes and then talk through it and all that stuff. The stuff that I decided I didn't want to do because I don't want to be a reaction guy. And he just goes through his notes, talks about what he liked and what he didn't like, and thoughts about the episode. Is like, you know what, shipmate, Kingswood, you can do that. So I'm gonna do the similar thing. So the DVDs for this are gonna show up here on Tuesday, and I think I'm just gonna start watching it, and then I'm gonna do Kingswood thoughts on Star Trek Voyager here on the channel. And I'm going to get back to reading my stories. And I'm going to get back to doing these streams and pimping my stuff. And get back here on this. And maybe that will be a nice happy medium. I'll also probably get back to doing some music stuff as I discover cool music things. But going through and talking about story elements that I see here. After Voyager, I'll do Enterprise because I haven't done all of Enterprise yet either. Haven't seen all of Enterprise. And after that's done, maybe we'll go out and do the other ones. But assuming I can actually twist my arm, oh gosh, to make myself do this and stay on top of it and get through it all, that will have two things. A, it'll make sure that I don't ruin my enjoyment or the other people who are going through the Star Trek thing, that I enjoy watching them as they have their thoughts about it. And B, it'll give me some... a chance to see the episodes I haven't seen before of a franchise that I like a lot, and it'll give me some excuse to post more things here and do story analysis, character analysis. We'll talk about writerly kind of things as we do that, and I think that can be a good thing. At the very least, I'll have fun. Maybe you guys will have fun with me. So that's the plan. Make sense? I think so. Cool.